News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. That's 1-800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. If you would like to chime in right now. We have a major event going on right now. We have the DNC Convention, Democrat National Convention. Last time, I don't know if it was in Chicago between 96 and now. It's my hometown, as many of you know. And father was a police officer there. I have many friends and family who were or are involved in that city, and many who live there. So I was actually in 96. I was at the DNC as a peon, if you will. I was a runner for NBC Network News. That came after my time interning at Dateline NBC. So they called me up and said, "Hey, you live there. Can you help us out?" I'm like, "Yeah." They paid me nicely, but I was a peon. I'll just leave it at that. So I wasn't anything important, but I saw it. I learned a lot, and I had a lot of fun, and I also got in trouble a lot with them. Oh yeah. Memories, but this time is going to be different. And we're watching the radical leftist, pro-Islamist protesters, pro-Hamas protesters go nuts there in real time. We're following that to the T. But also, we are watching a surging Kamala. Kamala. And that is not good. We have favorable views of Kamala have risen this summer heading into the DNC. AP poll shows. Politico says her momentum is growing, and polling experts says whether it'll last or not. And he basically says whichever candidate that end their conventions on the upswing typically see that momentum go through to Election Day. We have lost the momentum from Donald J. Trump. He has squandered it. I hate to say this because I'm voting for him. I always have and I always will. I love his policies. I love him. But he messes it up, and he is his own worst enemy. And I hate having to say that to you for years. And it still is the reality. And yet we expect things to change. Somehow, magically, he's not going to be such a jerkety jerk, if you will. Even though I love the guy, unequivocally, you have to understand. He's still... As you know, the other day, what did he say? They said during the press conference he had, and he's the only one doing press conferences, she's not, and she's still surging. She's leading in, for my recollection here, I've got it all here in front of you, most of the swing states she's now leading in. Because he said, you know what he said on his press conference last week? I told you the first 10, 15 minutes were absolutely amazing. It was like, it was like the poles aligned. And then he went into the nastiness. And then the press asked him about being, the personal attacks. And he said, I have a right to the personal attacks because they're trying to throw me in jail. Look, dude, if you want to win, you got to stop that. He does not want to stop that. He thinks he needs it. So that's either why people hate him or why people love him. But the problem is, if you want to win, can't do that. And it's more important now than ever that we freaking win. And he continues to blow it. And this woman cannot be in power. It is stunning, the crap that keeps coming out. Her plan, quote unquote, to rig the grocery prices and bastardize the housing market to the point we'll have another collapse because of what she wants to propose, roundly, tremendously attacked by David Brooks in the New York Times again over the weekend, just ridiculing it. And by, oh my gosh, Jason Furman, former top Obama economic advisor, ridiculing it. In fact, he said when she was being the tie-breaking vote on this, I think it was $2.4 trillion that she actually was a tie vote for. There was another one she was a tie vote for. It's even higher than what I'm telling you. This woman is personally responsible for the inflation. And she was warned publicly by Jason Furman, top Obama economic advisor, don't do this. You're going to cause inflation. And what does he say now? I told you this would cause inflation. But somehow she's surging and Trump is not. All because he keeps reminding them of how much of a nasty person he can be. And that's going to hurt this country so badly if he doesn't get reelected. Lindsey Grahamnesty, as the late Rush used to call him, says his policies are good for America, he said over the weekend on NBC News Meet the Press. And if you have a policy debate for president, he wins. Donald Trump, the provocateur, the showman, may not win this election. And I agree. So some questions I want to pop at you right now. Chime in right now. Line's wide open for you. How much of a landslide do you think Trump would actually win by if he turned away from the personal attacks and the irascibility? Because everybody, he's got like a 22-point lead on the economy over her. But it means nothing because they can't stand the guy, some people. So how much of a landslide would he win by, do you think, if he actually turned from the personal attacks and irascibility? And what does Trump need to do to come out on top? What does he need to do? That's a big one for you to tell me. What do you think he needs to do? I've laid it out for me. Stop attacking. Stop the personal attacks. Stop playing victim. And don't talk about the election of 2020 being stolen or rigged. Don't talk about... there's so many things not to talk about, but or talk about you being persecuted and you're going to go to jail. They want to put you in jail. Just freaking win, dude. Put your nose down, focus, and win. And how big of a deal is it that you think that he continues to attack in this way? 800-288-WBAP. Chime in right now. We got 3-4 minutes. Chime in right now. Lines wide open. 800-288-WBAP. 800-288-9227. How much of a landslide do you think Trump would actually win by if he turned away from the personal attacks and irascibility? What does Trump need to do to come out on top? Because he is losing. That's a fact. And to a woman who is a freaking socialist Marxist. Unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you right now, it keeps popping into my head. I don't want to keep thinking this. But when I learn and read more and more, I'll be sharing you all the stuff I have about how bad her policies are. And more stuff keeps coming out that's terrible. But I got to tell you something. There's no way this should even be an option for her to be winning right now. And the more, here's a big one, the more these folks that are supporting her or think they might support her or are leaning towards voting for her, the more they hear from her and the more they learn about her, the more they will be driven away from voting for her. But none of that happens if he keeps attacking her and being nasty. All right, pull this up real fast. Kathleen Kamala is speaking right now at the DNC.
Are here united by our shared vision for the future of our country. And this November, we will come together and declare with one voice, as one people, we are moving forward.
All right, see, that's the message right there. Trump is bringing us behind.
And faith.
Okay, bring that down now. Trump is bringing us behind. He's dragging us back. I'm going to move you forward. That's her message. That is her message. And it's been her consistent message for a week or two. What's our side's message? I mean, his policies are amazing, but the message is they're stupid, they're incompetent, they're Marxist, they're socialist. Tell them why they're the wrong people to vote for. Why is she, I should say, the wrong person to vote for? Because this woman is literally a disgrace as far as being a politician. She is. Everybody knows it. Why do you think the Democrat Party in February, the New York Times and other top publications and Democrats were saying, get her off the ticket. We need somebody who could run and win as a president. Get her off. That happened the year before. They had like 9 reboots of her because it was such a disaster. Now she's being cloaked and hidden, and they're telling you what and who she is. And when she comes out and even shares you a little bit, you run away like kryptonite, like Superman from kryptonite. But none of this matters if Trump keeps being nasty. And that's it. I've said it for 8 years. He's his own worst enemy, and he still is right now. Okay, coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP. And chime in right now. We got 4 lines open, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Did you know another liberal person at the Washington Post, one of their columnists, has just called out Kamala for refusing to talk to journalists? Even the leftists are saying that now. As she hides. All right, Dave and Burleson, we're going to take you coming up at 8:16 on the Chris Crock Show. 4 lines open. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
We are going to blow the roof off of the United Center in terms of the praise for Joe Biden.
There is going to be so much love for Joe Biden. There's going to be tears of joy when he walks into that hall. And what he has done, and I love that a major focus of this is going to be on democracy. He literally saved our democracy in the U.S.
And Joe Biden, I believe, will go on the Democratic Mount Rushmore with FDR.
By the way, I've heard that soundbite all day with, what's her name, Klobuchar from Minnesota? Tears of joy. What's a tur? Tears of joy. I don't get that. Anyway, they're tears of joy that Joe Biden stepped down and was forced out. That's what that literally. You all know this. Thank you for stepping down. By the way, when Trump attacks Biden and says that, I beat him and this and that, the more he talks about Biden, the more we're going to lose. The more he talks about personal attacks, the more we're going to lose. How much of a landslide do you think Trump could win by if he turned away from the personal attacks and irascibility? What does Trump need to do to come out on top? And how big of a deal do you think it is that he continues to act this way? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 3 lines open, 800-288-9227. Liberal Washington Post columnist writing today, Kamala's weeks-long silent treatment of the media erodes democracy, and the strategy breaks with democratic values of treating the press as an important institution. And continuing on to say, this is a columnist for the Washington Post, Perry Bacon Jr., he says this further erodes democracy by her hiding from the media. And then he says, quote, Harris is making a mistake. It goes on, but those are some of the highlights. So another day, another attack from the most liberal national paper in the country. New York Times, I'll play some audio of that in a little bit. One of their top guys, columnist guys, he literally said how absolutely terrible her economic price control policies are. So that and much, much more. Okay, so that's one of the New York Times columnists there. Can't remember his name, but he was something. It'll come to me in a second. But anyway, he was saying that on one of the weekend shows this weekend on PBS. All right, let's go to your call at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Let's go to David in Burleson. David, hello, WBAP.
Yes, sir. Hey, I think he is going to beat the living heck out of her if he would just stay on topic, but not nearly as much as he would if Biden was in there. And I think the reason is because she has drummed up so much excitement on her side. I think there's going to be a higher turnout on Democrat voters.
Really, so what it is it's a basic. I think you're onto something with what you're saying. I think it really is a basic fact. The fact that they were so depressed and dismal that Joe was going to lose. Everybody knew it, including everybody except for Joe. And so they're excited that somebody who's young and can walk without a walker, without assistance, and she's incompetent, period, but it's not because of her age, dementia, or the other things. So, there's so many messages that are not getting mentioned or put through. Another aspect of this, and I'll let you answer this too, or respond to this, Dave. Another aspect of this is that I was listening to Karl Rove today. I know half everybody listening hates him, half everybody listening likes him, respects him. Yeah. I respect him, and I take what he says with a grain of salt based on how I feel. But he says a lot of intelligent things, and he won 2 elections for George W. Bush in this country. And he still is consulted. He's consulted right now on one of the Republican efforts to help get Trump in, so he's on our side. Here's the thing. He said today, and I totally agree with this, it's so true, his rallies are a disaster because what he says in 10 or 15 minutes is beautiful, and the other 30 minutes, he did one I think earlier today, and it was a waste of time. It was because you're losing them. They're not nobody that is undecided is going to sit there and watch you for 40 minutes. On a typical stump speech. Make it 10, 15 minutes. He should stop doing those rallies because all it does is continue to have the people, 40 to 45% of us, go there, and those are the ones supporting him. Now, I will say one thing. I did hear, in the defense of the other position, and I got to go, David, thank you for your call. So I did hear A Jewish liberal Democrat today, they replayed a piece of it from when he was on Dana Perino's show this morning with her and Bill Hemmer on Fox. And he literally did go to one of Trump's rallies. And he liked it. So there is some truth to that. But I really got to tell you, if he just had, even if the rally was speaking for 10 minutes, then maybe there's, but dude, you've got to get on, get up there, talk for 10, 15 minutes, kick butt and get off. Cackling Kamala was up there for 20 minutes the other day. Her idea was crap. In fact, it was worse than crap. It was socialism, Marxism. But the brevity of the speech and the focus of the speech is what we need to be doing. Cindy in Crandall. Cindy, you're on WBAP.
Hi, Chris. Yes, I couldn't agree more. I heard your comments earlier, and I 100% agree that he just needs to reel in the negativity and the name calling. He needs to be pandering to the people that are on the fence. I mean, he has us that are voters for him, right? But he needs to pander to the people that are on the fence and needs to reel in those votes.
Not pander, but cater to them, right?
Cater to them, exactly. Right. I mean, it's kind of the political game, right? He needs to cater to them and get them off the fence.
And why does he need to cater to them?
Because if they're on the fence, they're going to end up voting for Kamala because they like the pretty face and what she says and her laughing and they reel in the public people, right? A lot of your people don't listen to all the political shows or Fox News or anything like that to get their political point of views. They're just listen to the daily news, which
or get it online online. Yes, yeah. I totally agree with you. And I think that what's crazy is it was one of the things I read today or yesterday over the weekend, but it was digging deep into the polling and stuff, one of the recent polls that came out. And I'll share some new polling that came out today coming up at 8:33. But it showed that the majority of people, or at least the undecided people, a lot of them, most of them, are sick of hearing about Trump. They've been hearing about Trump for 8 years. For everything, good, bad, or ugly, all the time. And so you see this woman who is incompetent and Marxist socialist, but she is new. Even though the old her had the lowest approval rating, she has the lowest approval rating she had like 4 weeks ago of any vice president in modern history. And yet now she's a shiny new object that's incredible. So the people are sick of hearing about Orange Man all the time. A lot of it bad. And so this is a fresh thing right here. So like, well, let's go with that. And she's doing joy and pleasantries. But it ain't going to be joy and pleasantries when under her leadership, clearly. All right, I'm going to give you some of the polls and why it is not good. And voters in Pittsburgh fume at Kamala for a staged event. You have to hear this. She may have hired a whole bunch of new actors to perform in front of the camera, just like she did with that space video that was released, that embarrassing space video with kids acting. That is next at 33 after the hour on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Who do you support?
Trump.
I plead the fifth.
Trump for the win.
Who do you want?
Trump.
Why don't you like Harris?
Oh, she doesn't have any experience.
Trump looked like he got it in the bag right now.
4 years ago, it was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy is actually better under Biden. No, I'm serious.
Poor Don Lemon reduced to doing man on the street interviews, and he was not pleased with what people are telling him on the street there. So here's the thing. Is this upswing for Kamala going to last? Is it going to last? Well, the numbers are not good. ABC News, Washington Post poll, Harris ahead by 6 points among likely voters. 51% over Trump's 45%. CBS YouGov poll, Harris has a 3-point lead. Small lead in enough swing states she has. This is from the Politico today. She has a small lead in enough swing states to give her an electoral college majority. And she held advantages in at least 4 points in 4 of the states. And the New York Times Siena poll says that Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Those alone would hand her enough electoral votes to win. 538 polling averages show Trump would only need to flip one of the 3 blue wall states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, in order to win. My gosh, this is beyond close, and it's not trending in the right direction. And if she gets a bump out of this, it could hold. She's got to keep hiding out, though. This is a very scary time. A woman who people know nothing of. Did you know that I think it was like 70% of people that are either Democrats or say they're going to vote for literally don't know what her policies are? They just don't know. That's what's terrifying to me. I think we are a fallen state if we put her in and don't know what she, you know what I mean? If we just put her in based on her looks and how she talks. You know, and if you don't know her policies, we are a fallen state if that happens. And it could. Why are we a fallen state if that happens, Chris? Well, because the people literally don't know what they're voting for. They're just voting for how they feel about her. Feelings, not facts. Feelings, not facts. We will all pay if she gets elected. I really, really, really want to stress that. Nonetheless, how much of a landslide do you think Trump would win by if he actually turned away from the personal attacks and irascibility? What does Trump need to do to come out on top? And how big of a deal do you think it is that he continues to act this way at the press conference the other day saying, you know, I'm not going to stop personal attacks. They're trying to throw me in jail. That literally, him doing that can literally put a terrible, incompetent leader in office instead of him. And how likely is it that Trump may lose, do you think, because he continues to refuse his lack of focus on policy, personal attacks instead? And how much does this make you upset and frustrated? It makes me a lot upset and frustrated a lot. South in Terrell, you are on WBAP. Welcome.
How you doing, sir?
Good, sir. How are you?
I love your show.
Thank you.
Great. I love your show, man. I love it. But I feel like, honestly, yes, Trump should kind of chill out on the personal attacks and go and focus more on policy because, you know, illiterate people who listen to anything that Kamala says anyways, they're just going to go off of the ooh, not the ah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's kind of more a situation of, let's just think about it. She's a woman. She's supposedly all of a sudden a woman of color. So anything you say to her, it could be reversed as a race thing, or it could be, oh, it's just a woman. So regardless, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose that fight. So if you focus more on the, you know, on the conservative side of things and focus on the issues that we actually have, thank God we finally got Sleepy Joe out of office, then I'd say that he has a pretty good chance if you just focus on that.
You know, I think you're right. If you look at this, though, it's unbelievable that Trump has a 22-point advantage on what is, for almost everybody in this country, the number one issue, the economy. He has a 22% point advantage over Kamala, and yet she is leading in a lot of the polls now.
Well, yeah, that's because that goes back to the open border crisis. You know what I'm saying? Like, every person that she's let in was a minority, I'm guessing. So with that being said, of course you're going to win that minority vote, but we need to get people to wake up and, you know, get this ball rolling. The train's already left the station. It's up to you to get on. But,
you know, it's funny because they're not going to want to get on a train station if all they see is a man who's nasty. Because the press, here's another thing I heard today I thought was exactly perfectly spoken, that in his 40-minute speech or whatever it was today, I think it was 45 minutes, the press will only take out of it the stuff that makes him look bad. They will not say any of the good points he made. And so he needs to only provide good stuff so that they cannot make up stuff. Or excuse me, they have to make it up to say it. In other words, if he doesn't say anything nasty, if he does a speech that's focused 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and stays exactly in the lines, they will have nothing to say that bad about him unless they make it up. But he continues to do it this way, which makes people like him because he's not compromising, but it also may literally cost him the election.
Yes, sir, that it might. But, you know, some people in America want to catch the mess, not the message. So no matter what Trump says, they're still going to try to make him out to be the bad guy. If he comes out and says nothing but good things, oh, well, look, he's a hypocrite, blah, 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 you know, now all of a sudden he's on our side. No, that's not the fact. America just catches a mess and not the message.
So wait, you don't want him to change his delivery at all? You don't want him to change his 45 minutes, 1 hour, 1.5 hour speeches, and that aren't as focused as they should be? You want him to just be himself and go?
Oh, no, that's not going to win. I'm with you very much on that. He needs to change the way that, he goes about the situation. But what I'm saying is no matter what, the whole left side is
they're still going to,
regardless.
Yes, absolutely correct. But they would have to make it up if he were so focused and such. Listen, I appreciate your great call, South from Terrell, and I hope you call again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Jeff in Frisco. Jeff, hi, WBAP.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, sir.
Well, so I disagree, all right? And I disagree with this point. I think that is what has fired up his base. And that's what got him originally elected. That's why he's the candidate.
The nastiness?
It's because he has the fire.
What you mean?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're saying his nastiness is what got him elected in 2016?
You can call it nastiness. I call it motivation. All right, and just the nature of these calls and the nature of what we're talking about shows we're cooked. Okay, because if that is the case, and you're agreeing with Kamala Harris,
wait, we're cooked about what?
Whoa!
No, hold on. No, I don't know I don't know what you're saying. You said we are cooked.
This country is cooked.
If
we are believing the narrative that they are throwing out.
Who's they?
Which is Trump.
Wait, who's they?
Whatever he says, like the previous caller.
Brother, I'm trying to follow your argument. Who's they?
Okay.
You said they throw out.
The general media, the left. Okay.
So now I got you. If we believe they're so when I interrupt you, it's to clarify, because otherwise I'm not going to even know where you're going. I can't have a discussion if I don't know what you're saying. All right. So you're saying the leftist media. So start with that again. The leftist media, if they
the media is controlling the narrative.
Yes.
Okay. For instance, the polls. Whatever Trump says, they will manipulate, twist it, and spin it. Karl Rove, for instance, said, "Hey, you know what? Long time ago, Biden's going to be their candidate." They knew he wasn't going to be their candidate. All right. So they twist and turn everything, and now they have a totally incompetent person. So what do? They put her in the hole too, put her in the box,
right,
and don't say anything. So you're, in essence, what I'm saying is you're agreeing with the way the media handles things nowadays and the narrative. Don't give them any ammunition. So just go into a box too, and nobody say anything.
Wait. But I don't understand what I'm doing here. What you're saying I'm doing? So wrong.
So why I'm saying is you're saying don't limit your speech. All right. Don't have him go out and make these long rallies. All right. Which is what he's known for.
I know.
All right.
I know.
Motivates his people. All right.
Oh.
So you're saying the better tactic is to do what the left is doing.
Okay.
Which is don't talk. Don't say anything. Okay, because if you say anything, that's going to be held against you. It's like you're in court.
Okay, two things. The 40 to 45% of the people, because people are always like, well, look at those crowds. There's no way he's going to lose. Totally wrong, because those people, which I am one of them, and it sounds like you are 40 to 45% of the vote. We need it to be 51 or 52% or more to win. And we will never get it by doing the same thing over and over again. We need to do something different. And part of that is he needs to stop. Like I've said it on the air a million times. He can go nuts on people and be all nasty the day he gets the presidency. But if he does this now, he won't get the presidency. And I want him more than anything to get the presidency.
Me and you both. Me and you both.
So I don't understand. Are you upset with me about something? I don't understand what you're...
No. I'm sorry. I don't even know what your voice is bad. But
are you just saying that I literally shouldn't be telling these things how I feel on the air?
I'm just saying instead of motivating our own, okay, we're playing their talking points because we're talking, for instance, about polling and things like that. I trust polling 0%. Okay, it's another.
What do you trust? What do you trust?
That's a great point. I trust myself in my own mind, so I search and hear and listen to what the man has to say.
Right, but they're not. They're not searching. The ones we need to vote for our candidate are not searching, and they're not listening to it all.
And what I'm saying is, this is the exact point. And I'm agreeing with so much you say, okay? But the point is, if that is the case, they control the media, and if they're just going for a little bite here or there, we are cooked.
Here's the thing: what did our parents tell you, and hopefully your mom told you? What do they say? They can't. You can't get in trouble if you don't give them any ammo to use against you. And, I agree. And so what Trump's doing is giving them ammo. I got to roll, but I appreciate your call, Jeff, and please keep calling. So, you can't. They can't use what he says against him if he doesn't say it. All right. It's like what I was told by one of my former program directors. You can't get in trouble for what you don't say. Although I think you could, because something bad happens and you don't say anything about it. But basically you can't get in trouble for what you don't say. And he can't get called out for actions or things he says that he doesn't act or say. You got to understand, the premise of this whole thing is this man will never change. And I'm not knocking him. I'm just telling you this, he will never change. And that's why we might lose again. All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Next, we have at 48 after the hour, Kamala's speeches are now telling you how expensive groceries are. The arsonist who started the fire is telling you how she's going to put out the fire. You got it? She started the fire, but yet now she's telling us, I'm going to be the one that puts out the fire that I started. Vote for me, y'all. That's next at 48 after the hour on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3, Chris Crock Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Tonight, around, somewhere between 9:45 or later, Joe Biden will take the stage. This is an embarrassing day for him. He's literally, do you understand that the lowest of the low at the Republican National Convention and the Democrat National Convention, the lowest of the low are the ones who speak on the first night. Did you know that? This is a grand embarrassment for Joe Biden, the fact that he's being relegated to the first night of the DNC. He should be the third or fourth night of the DNC. He is not. Mrs. Hussein Obama will be up tomorrow night getting a higher billing than he does. He's a current president. He's at the lowest level. Mr. Hussein Obama, former President Barack Hussein Obama, will be speaking, I believe, on Wednesday night. And on Thursday, it'll be the cackler. It's interesting, Kamala. And it's interesting because the way this is playing out really relegates Joe to the bottom of the barrel. And the reports are that he is literally, a direct quote from the Daily Beast today, he is stunned and pissed, quote unquote. We'll get into that in a little bit, but right now I want to ask you this. Kamala, in her speeches, she's now talking about how expensive groceries are. And more economists, and liberal economists, that is, and liberal thinkers they're ripping the crap out of Kamala's price gouging and greedflation charges. So here's what I think they're going to do. They're going to stop mentioning this. They're going to ditch this socialist Marxist plan. There's Hillary. There's freaking Hillary, y'all. Hillary Clinton is at the same level of Joe Biden. Do you want to hear her for a second? It's going to be hard. Nails on a chalkboard. Hey, producer Garrett, I know you're busy with screening calls. Would you mind popping up this board right now?
Thank you.
The lozenge lizard.
Thank you.
The lozenge lizard.
Thank you so much.
I need a lozenge.
Wow.
How's her laugh?
There's a lot of energy in this room, just like there is across the country.
I know he's no tired. Remember that when she ripped off? She pretended like she was from the South or something? All right, get it out of here. Get it out of here. No more, please.
In America.
Yes, this is crazy, man. I mean, it's what they do at the conventions, but dang. Okay, so as they're ripping the heck out of her grocery store prices, grocery store price gouging BS, and talking about greedflation, how much faith do you have in Kamala to actually help fight inflation and high grocery prices? Remember that she's the arsonist that started this fire, and now she says she's the one who should put it out. How much faith do you have in Kamala to help fight the inflation and grocery prices? How wise of a decision do you think it is for Kamala to make high grocery prices inflation part of her speeches? I think it's horrible. Hey, remember me? I started the fire. Hire me to put it out. And how much of an arsonist putting out a fire that she started feeling do you have when you see her talking about high grocery prices and inflation? She will never again mention that policy where she's Marxist socialist. I'm going to do price fixing. At least in the next several weeks, she won't. Shh. She'll do that once she becomes president. Rodney, Fort Worth, you are on WBAP. What do you got?
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Yeah, the first run, I think that he really did a good job with the all the trash talk because everyone was frustrated and they just really wanted to hear somebody say to the people in Washington, D.C. what we couldn't say, which is basically give them a hard time.
Yeah.
This time, everybody knows that part, and I do believe that he needs to stay more focused. He did really good in the debate because he was really disciplined, and it was great. I think he did a great job. He can get back to that. And she also has got I believe she's the socialism that she's really talking, maybe even too far left for some of the left.
It is. Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
That may help out. I mean, I know he's kind of running his pie hole there, but maybe the mistakes she's making will help counter that. But I would like to see him hold back a little.
I agree. Great call, Rodney. I appreciate you. Keep it up, man. Keep calling. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. By the way, we are going to talk to a reporter who is in the middle of the hell in Chicago with the radical leftist pro-Hamas protesters coming up a little bit later. But next, as I was mentioning, we're going to get into Kamala literally with her socialist Marxist policies of price control. And so many on the left insanely ripping the heck out of her for it. And if you trust her with our economy and our economic situation, or do you support Trump more? Do you believe he's much better to make our economy on the right track again, put it on the right track?